Hey everybody, it is the 1st of June. I don't even know what day it is, which is absolutely perfect because it means I'm having a ball. I am loving every moment of gardening. It has gotten really deep for me this season, especially deeper than ever before. I don't even know what that means. All I can tell you is that I am deeply obsessed, deeply called, deeply pulled, deeply feel this need to just constantly be outside doing things, whatever that might be. I never tire of it. It's just this very deep passion, which is amazing. It's a gift. I am very, very grateful. So grateful. And this evening, I'm just enjoying a little bit of time in the patio here while we're cooking some food before I get back out in the garden after spending umpteen hours out there today already. So I want to give a little bit of an update about where we're at. I'm also really sensing like what is giving me energy and where am I finding peace versus things that just feel like busy work and not fun. Doing the annuals in different containers this year is just feeling so to me. I enjoy designing them. I think they're really beautiful, but it's ultimately not where my heart is. My heart is really out in the production garden, in the pasture. We've got the cut flowers and the pumpkins and sweet corn and peas, and it's just way more fun for some reason. The other thing I really still enjoy quite a bit is the landscape perennial flower beds, I'll call them, where we've got our different flowers happening, and I'm trying to invest more and more in perennials and design as I go and figuring out, okay, what do I want to do this year? How do I want to do it? And then there's a lot of weeds, a lot of like little tree seedling weeds. I don't know if anyone else gets this, to get tree weeds everywhere all the time. So I've been doing a good job of keeping up on half of that, but I still got the other half to go. It's just intense. Well, and with the containers, it's not that I don't appreciate them and don't enjoy the creativity of designing them. I think it's just not as rewarding or gratifying to me as growing things from seed and nurturing them and watching them grow and learning about them. It's not as challenging as the stuff we're doing out in the pasture garden. I think that's why I'm like, it's just okay. I will say the things I'm getting creative with there that I do feel more excited about are like snapdragons, because I have gobs of them I grew from seed, and actually taking things I'm growing from seed and putting them in there, that feels more interesting to me. So they've been like my filler kind of this year, which is fun. They're the really large snapdragons that I use for cut flowers. But I'm stuffing them in all sorts of containers because I have so many left over. Now that said, I just reweeded the pasture garden today, and I definitely need to do some replants. So I will take more of my leftovers, put them out in the field for cut garden or for cut flowers, and then also but also keep putting them in containers, which is really rewarding. I think it'll be just beautiful and stunning. They do so well. They'll be kind of consistent throughout as they're staggered in little pots and containers and parts of the perennial beds even. I tucked some of them in there just throughout. And it just kind of makes my heart happy because it's like, oh, these are things I grew. They're mine. They're my little babies. And I didn't have to really pay much for them because I grew them from nothing. So that's very rewarding. And sometimes it's the only thing that makes me feel really grounded and calm. I know that when I'm having a stressful moment, if I go outside and I do anything with gardening, it will center me. And it is a very, very cool thing. And I'm really proud of all our seedlings out in the ground. They're all coming up really well, even despite the rain and the crazy weather. On the flip side, I'm really grateful that I don't have to be doing crazy irrigation. I have not really had to water in the last 3 weeks. It's been amazing, which is actually fun. So I figure, well, the time I'm not spending on that or managing that, I can devote to other things. So that's been actually really useful. pretty little M. She's very, very confident, very headstrong, such a joy, and she makes us laugh a lot because she's really funny, and I think she knows she's funny. Definitely has a strong personality, a mind of her own. All right, so I'm out here in the production garden that I'm in love with, and I want to share a comprehensive update because there's a lot going on. All right, here we are. All right, so right down in the middle here, I've got my Sunfinity sunflowers. These are the really special ones that are supposed to get really big. They're looking great. They just leafed out more in the last day or so. They're really liking that extra rain we're getting. These are transplants that I found in different parts of garden beds that came back all on their own. I think they're really special. They look like crap because they've been transplanted, but they got plenty of rain, so they're going to do just fine. And then down this row where you can see these 3 strips, let's walk down here. These are all of my giant zinnias. So this is a mix of like oranges and different colors, and then I have a mix that's just a whole variety. The Magnificent mix from Harris Seeds, which has been stunning for the past 2 seasons. I highly, highly suggest if you're looking for something fun and easy, these are it. And they look great. They're coming up awesome. I have been weeding this entire bed today, so they look really good. So we're feeling real organized. All right, and then if we head down this row, I've got sunflowers coming up. These are like the 6-foot copper queen ones that are bronze color. They're stunning. And this is my whole row with the wooden posts here. This is my whole row of dahlias. I have quite a few plants this year. I'm hoping to go big with the dahlias. Some of them have not come up. I've been a little worried about them rotting with the rain, but we have good drainage, and I have a lot of them that just started popping out of the ground here in the last couple days. So this one, and then more of the front set, you can see they're coming up. Really, really happy, grateful for that. Look at that, isn't that great? Just crossing fingers, they continue to pop out of the ground. So these will get real big, and they need to be supported. So that's why I have the stakes, and then I can run twine along. I've been studying how other growers do mass dahlias, and I'm really feeling confident about this approach. Next up are my 2 big sections of cut flowers. This is definitely a work in progress. I'm growing a lot of stuff I've never grown before, so I'm trial and error learning. Here I've got my stock. The ones that made it from seed inside are doing real good, but there's quite a few that didn't make it, so I have some strips here where I want to reseed and put more in to have a later planting. And then I've got more back here that I've grown from seed out here when I planted the ones from inside. So I've got different growth stages staggered. In this section I planted gladiolas. I am so excited. Just today I can see one spike coming out, so I know something's going on. I just weeded the surface so that things stay clean, and you really got to stay on top of the weeds after the rain. So I'm feeling really good because I got a ton done in this whole garden today with the weeding. This section, honestly, I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna admit, like, I don't know. And I haven't been great about labeling things. I'm just kind of like willy-nilly at this point, so I'm gonna run the risk of not knowing. I certainly seeded some stuff, so I can tell this is a legit type of seed that's coming up. I just don't know what the heck it is. It might be the stock, but it doesn't really look like stock, so I actually have no idea, and I guess that will be the fun part of the adventure. So I'm just going to keep this section clean, and right now I can't do a lot with the weeds that are there because I don't want to disturb the new babies emerging, but once they get a little more established, then I can clean it up more. My bachelor buttons, check this out. This whole area with the largest plants here are bachelor buttons. These are plants I grew inside since March, I think, March or April. And they are looking fantastic. I am the most confident in these, alongside like my standards, like the zinnias and the snapdragons. They look fantastic. So these were inside. These are what I grew from seed in the trays. And these are from seed. I put these out in the ground, seeded them at the same time I planted these seed starts. Next up are Rudbeckia. These are in the Black-Eyed Susan family, and these are more of a fancy variety. I have never had success growing these real well, and I'm just really, really proud of how these are looking. These are, the ones in the front here are all from the inside seed starts that I did, and it's really paying off. They seem to really be happy with the environment out here. They're just not like super, super vigorous growers like the Bachelor Buttons. And I did start some from seed out here too, and they are doing not too bad. There's just not that many of them. They're kind of hard for me to find. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do out here. I might reseed or consolidate some of them because they're taking up, they're just kind of scattered in weird spots, taking up random space. This section I just put in moments ago. This is, I think I still have the seed packet here, Coreopsis. And these look like a thin false sunflower. They're really, really pretty, and they get to be, you can see here, 30 to 36 inches tall. I'm feeling really confident these are going to do great out here. So I put in 4 rows. And then the last section here are my snapdragons, and I've got another section here of them. I really wanted to double down on them because I absolutely love snapdragons. I always have. And I knew they would work hard. And the ones that have made it, again, look really, really good. They're getting really well established. But I've got a lot of holes, and it's hard to see right now with the way that the soil looks against the plants. I did weed this quite a bit today. So I'm feeling really good that I can see the plants. But you can see, like right here, this whole section, they've either gotten eaten by rabbits or they've washed away or something. So I have replants that I get to put back out here, which I'm excited to get in the ground. But there's a lot. There are quite a few. So I will have blooms. I will have good supply, I think, at the get-go once they start to get to bloom stage. And in the back, we've got just a couple random Brussels sprout plants that look really darn good. And I've added more seeds to the ground surrounding them to have more come up, see how those do straight in the ground. And of course, they'll be at a later stage. Mexican sunflower. These I am so proud of. These are the ones where I had to replant them inside because I didn't plant them deep enough. I've learned a lot. They're doing pretty good. I've got them netted already because I got some height on them, and they're gonna get real tall. They get to 5 to 6 feet tall. I've never grown these before, and I could not be more excited. They have gorgeous blooms. Another section of snaps here. If we come around on the Mexican sunflower section, I've added on the other side ornamental sunflowers here, which are starting to come up, and then 2 rows of calendula, which I used to say calendula. I don't really know how to say it, but calendula is looking fantastic. I've never had them be this vigorous before. I think they really like the rain. And then coming down the other row here, that other section of cut flowers, I have a weird section. I don't really know what's going on. And I think I might have planted stuff here, and I'm waiting to see what comes up. Same here. In fact, I know for sure I put seed in the ground here. I recently added, I think, Nigella to this section. So I'm going to wait to see what pops up. This section, it is really hard to see, but I do have some plants going on. I think this is Angelonia. And they actually aren't doing too bad. They're just really small. They're not like going crazy fast, but they aren't gone. So I am learning and watching and waiting. And then if we come to the other side, I have this whole section of, I believe these are gomphrena. They actually look pretty good and they're consistent. And then I've got another section here. I want to say these are Canterbury bells. I put some in the ground recently to add more seed to the ones I had seed starts for, and they look pretty good. I've got these here. I don't actually know what they are. Kind of cracks me up. I don't know what these things are. I know they're legit. I just don't remember. And that'll be part of the fun. And these are my favorite few. They're not huge, but they are getting bigger. Slow but sure. And they haven't given up. This section, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just watching and waiting because there's a good chance. Like, these look legit. These are legit something. There's a good chance that, yeah, these all look, they're not weeds. So I'm just watching and waiting and being patient. And then the poppies, boy, this was like failure and now a little bit of a win. Cautiously optimistic. So I had a whole bunch of these plants and they did really good and they were looking like this inside and they were so gorgeous. And then I got them out here and they just flopped on me. And I only had about 30% of them that made it. This one is the biggest one, the most strong one. And I thought, gosh, I'm going to have to replant. And I didn't know if it would work because poppies tend to like a cooler climate. But I did put seed in and they are coming up. Like, this is one. And they're coming up consistently. There's another one. Another one. Another one. More of them. So I'm just being patient. Doesn't look like much yet, but I'm hopeful because they're an annual California poppy. They like warmer temperatures than the traditional cooler to this zone ones. I'm hoping that I get a stand here. Let's head down to the left side of the garden. We have squash and pumpkins coming up and mini gourds. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at that. I am so happy. They look so terrific. So I've gone through and weeded around every one of the plants today, which was a ton of work. And then I'll take the tiller through, the actual motorized tiller through on the pathway. It'll be a lot easier to keep it clean. If you look at these rows, we've got consistent emergence going on. And I'm just gonna walk across. You can see where the rain, I mean, holy cow, like it just saturated the ground. And even despite that, they still are holding on. They're still coming up. And the sweet corn looks gorgeous. We're having some odd behavior with the ambrosia. We put in a section of ambrosia back here and it's just not coming out of the ground the way the others have. Like, you can see there's some, but they're not consistent. So we're just kind of watching and waiting. I can see a little bit more right now. And then I've got a lot of weed cover in these lines because I don't want to disturb them as they're coming out of the ground. Like, give them a chance to establish before I clean it up. Here's another couple. But certainly nothing to write home about yet. We just put in 2 more lines of the ambrosia corn crossing fingers that does well. We're going to put in 1 more on this side of that fence, that flag fence. And then I have some mammoth sunflowers in here. And then we're going to be doing sugar snap peas and anything else that maybe we forgot back here. And look at this. This is another one of those. I bet this is a mammoth sunflower. This is a volunteer that just popped up on its own. I just love that when that happens. And then these are the ones that I just planted coming up. And these get super huge. They're so much fun. I mean, I had ones last year that were over 15 feet tall. They're super neat. All right, I'm gonna take you to the other end of the garden where we've got the peas to round out the tour. So this other end of the garden, we had a lot of like issues where we didn't have consistent stand with the cauliflower and the Brussels sprouts, so we consolidated them up in the front there where you can see it's more green in those lines. And now in this row here, I've got orange Cosmo flowers coming up. They'll get to be about 5 or 6 feet tall with beautiful orange blooms for cut flowers. On this side, I've got all of those different sunflower varieties that I just planted, and they are coming up. They look terrific. You can see these 2 lines here totally jamming. And then the rest of this back section, I just put in the rest of our peppers that we grew inside, so we don't want them to go to waste. These are overflow from the veg garden up front. Some real nice bell peppers in here, and tomatoes. So we put more tomato plants. These are mostly the beefsteak standard tomatoes that are just fantastic. They look really good. And now we're coming up front on the cauliflower here. You can see how pretty those are. And the cabbages. Oh, I'm so proud of the cabbage. This is my first time growing these. I just think they're so pretty. Aren't they pretty? Oh, they're so beautiful. Since the front here of some of these rows got nibbled by rabbits, I added some herbs for convenience. So this is all dill. Dill is so easy to grow. I need to reseed the basil. That kind of got washed away here. We've got a few little babes coming up, but we need more seed in the ground. And then I put in lavender. I'm growing lavender for the first time, and rosemary in this section. So that's starting to establish. And last but not least, the pea row at the end. So we've got our sugar snap peas. I replanted the gaps this last week. We have our sweet peas. Those are flowers. I put the remainder of the seed in the ground. And we have our pan pumpkins, which are like a pie pumpkin, that it just came up down the middle. Well, and because we're just nuts, and I ended up taking up a lot more space in the main garden this year because of all the flower stuff, we actually added on 2 more sections for pumpkins. So we just freshly tilled up this section and planted it today. So we got 3 rows of mini pumpkins in here. And we just tilled up a new pumpkin patch. We planted this at the same time we planted the other pumpkins, so they're starting to come up. Nearly impossible to see anything here because of all the weeds, but there are lines of pumpkins coming up. And that way we're not shortchanging the pumpkins because we just enjoy them so much.